News Weekly. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Batman News Weekly. This is episode 138 in year 3. And if this video does not come out, or I should say if this audio does not come out on Thursday, which it has always been, you can blame Clay because he decided to go watch freaking MCU movie instead of recording this podcast. So
My
Clay, without
apologies.
spoilers.
I was running around town before then, and I was really hoping that I hadn't needed to do the early stuff so that we could record early in the day.
Yeah.
But schedule just was not having it. I was like, fuck. And so that's why I texted you last night, and I was just like, hey, is there any way that we could record late?
Yeah.
And you didn't respond immediately. So I was like, oh, I got a notification that he was live.
I think I was streaming. Yeah, I think I was streaming when you texted me.
And the delay is there. So as soon as I go on your live, all I hear is, why is Clay texting me?
Yeah.
And then you just put the phone down. I was like,
I was like, I'll respond later.
Well, without spoilers, I will say this. It is the darkest MCU movie that they have ever put out.
Really?
And it is definitely a Sam Raimi movie.
Okay. So there was people being raped by trees?
Oof.
That's a Sam Raimi movie.
Well, in the sense of just this felt like your classic horror movie.
Okay.
Which, for me, you know me, I don't do horror.
Yeah.
And this, I was like, there was a couple times I was like, oh shit. Oh shit.
Intriguing.
Oh shit. And I liked it, man. It was very cool.
This isn't a spoiler, but just let me know, because I'm starting to realize I hate this in movies and shows now. I hate the evil version of a character. I hate it. I think it's so stupid nowadays.
So I will say this. It is the multiverse of madness, so there is other versions of Doctor Strange and, tiny spoiler, another version of Wanda.
Mm-hmm.
And they do play off the idea of an evil version.
Yeah.
But because of the multiverse, it kind of does a really cool spin on it. So it's because, see, the one thing that bothers me with it is it is clear, very clear to me anyway, that because of COVID times and needing to cut back on having so many people on set and everything, they're the MCU is doing the CW stuff where it's oh, well, we don't have to hire anybody else, you can play all the roles. And that is very clear to me on some of this stuff, and it's just but they were able to pull it off.
Yeah. Cool. I'm sure I'll be asked if I'm going to watch this 1 billion times in the Discord. No.
Ethan.
I'm not going to go to the theater to watch this. Not that it would have to be just I'm not doing anything today. I'm super ahead on work, and I'll be like, fuck it, let me go check it out.
I mean, I don't condone it, but it has already been said that the entire movie leaked a day before.
Oh, dun dun dun. Yeah, I heard this had a lot of leaks.
Yeah, today is the early release, Thursday. Yeah. But yesterday there was apparently a full length leak of the entire movie. Yeah.
What happened to the MCU? That stuff used to be locked down. Yeah. Now it's just all over the place, it seems. Anyways, this isn't an MCU podcast. This is a Batman podcast. And we're going to start off with some sad news, which, man, we are so terrible with our timing. Who should we blame from last week? Whoever asked the question, we should blame them in the Discord.
Was it Young or Red?
I don't know if it was Young or if it was Charlie. Somebody asked the question, what was our worst Batman book? And I was like, oh, Neal Adams freaking Odyssey. He was on crack or some other crap that I was saying. I don't remember what I was saying. But unfortunately, the next day, we got the news that Neal Adams, the great Neal Adams, passed away. And I was like, oh, fuck.
You're a such dicks.
Yeah, and I said it on Twitter too. Like I posted it on Twitter that I was like, "Hey, this is the worst fucking timing," because I said this on our podcast. But then I said, "Look, Neal was a fucking legend, whether I liked his, his books or not. Like he gave
Yeah,
me the costume that I loved.
yeah.
I love that suit.
Him and Danny O'Neill changed the game when it came to Batman. And one thing that people, not a whole lot of people do know, is Neal Adams is the reason that the creators of Superman got credit and won the lawsuit against DC.
Yeah,
So Neal Adams was a driving force for giving creators their due in comics. So that's why a lot of people just love him in general. But he was a great cover artist. Like I truly loved some of his covers for Green Lantern, for Green Arrow, for Batman, Superman. He did one of the most iconic like Breaking of the Chains cover for Superman that I
yeah,
absolutely love. So it sucks that he did not, that he wrote one of the, worst Batman books that we know of,
yeah.
but he was a driving force for comics for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It gave us Ra's al Ghul,
Yeah.
which has been used in every kind of Batman adaptation on movies and in cinema. So, he is. I mean, again, if we ever start a Patreon, we want to do a tier list, but I would say Ra's is he's definitely in the top 10. I don't know if he cracks the top 5, but he is
Ooh,
up
yeah,
there.
yeah,
So, pretty crazy. Definitely a big part of the Batman mythos. I will say that. So, and we've always said if you can ever put your mark on Batman in any way, you're automatically a legend.
yeah.
So, Neal Adams will always be remembered for that, and we wish the best to his family. And it just sucks that legends die, but unfortunately, if they're lucky, they live forever. So, we'll see how that goes. But sticking on to that, or I should say, jumping from that news, another thing that died this past week was Batwoman. The show has been
Yeah.
canceled. Also, Legends of Tomorrow also canceled. So if I'm not mistaken, Flash is the only remaining Arrowverse show. And
Yes,
Naomi hasn't
and
been picked up yet, right?
Naomi has not been picked up yet, and I would say yes and no to
Mm-hmm.
Flash being the last like Arrowverse show because technically, quote unquote, technically, Superman and Lois is
Ah, yes.
supposed to be in that universe because John Diggle, the character that was from Arrow, did
Mm-hmm.
show up on one of the episodes of last season,
Mm-hmm.
and they've always said that like if characters do come on that show, they can have the opportunity to write them however they want because this is post crisis.
Mm,
So they can use characters, but like it may not be the exact same way they were written or seen in their prior incarnation because of everything that
yeah,
happened in crisis.
got
Yeah.
you. What are your thoughts on the cancellations in general?
I think this is the uh the first of many cancellations, and I think it is a preview of what we are seeing with the new regime over at
Mm-hmm.
Warner Brothers Discovery and seeing how they want a legitimate like change and connectivity to
Yeah,
movies and TV shows.
yeah. I wonder if this will be the final season of Titans.
I
With
I I said on my other podcast, DC Alliance, that everything that is not like what did I say? Everything that is not big budgeted, and technically these shows are like $60 million or whatever.
yeah,
But in the grand scheme of things, you think $60 million, and Joker was $60 million, but it
yeah,
made $1 billion.
yeah.
Do you honestly think that Titans is going to make you $1 billion?
No,
I
hell no.
don't think anybody would think that that show is going to bring them that much revenue.
Yeah.
So I legitimately think every show, Titans, Doom Patrol, Superman and Lois, and that kind of cuts into a question that I have on Discord I saw, but I
Mm-hmm.
think Superman and Lois, Naomi, uh, I'm not quite sure about Peacemaker
Mm-hmm.
because of the success with James Gunn and how
Oh, there's
he
no way
is,
that gets canceled. No way.
but I do think everything else is on the chopping block.
Yeah. I think if you were to cancel Peacemaker, you lose James Gunn, and I don't think Discovery's that stupid.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting to see everything happening. I think it's time for the CW to kind of just go away. I mean, aren't they for sale as well right now? So,
Well, I do think that with everything going on with Warner Brothers Discovery, they're wanting to drive their numbers up for HBO Max and Discovery.
yeah.
And from what I've heard, they're wanting to merge Discovery and HBO Max pretty soon.
Hmm.
So they're not going to be the kind of people that are just like, hey, we want to. Well, I say that, but there has been news that they want to distribute their content to other countries rather than keep it on to their own streaming service, which I kind of
Yeah.
think is silly. But I don't think that they want to throw away money at this corporation, CW, that has
Hmm.
legitimately has not made any money, an ounce of money since they were created.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see. It's interesting to see that there are things changing, you
Yeah.
know, which is something we were curious about. And we also saw that Wonder Twins, that just got its actors, already got canceled.
It it wasn't even a full week from
Yeah,
when they casted the characters to its cancellation.
that's got to be
That's
so
insane.
sad. Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine? Be like, we're getting our big break. We're gonna have a DC movie. You're canceled. Aww. That sucks. I hope they didn't lose their jobs on whatever else they were on. So,
I know, like, what's his name? AJ Kappa or whatever his name is
mhm,
on Riverdale. Like, I'm pretty sure that series is getting close to. Dude, I saw a TikTok on that show that
mhm,
was like, it was somebody looking at, like, oh, Riverdale based off of Archie Comics season
yeah,
one. And it's kind of like all wholesome and stuff. And they're like, oh my, and it's like the plankton audio, it's oh my god, and it like
yeah,
goes all reverberated and stuff, and it shows all the I didn't even know this. They have witchcraft, they have time travel, they have like all sorts of stuff in there
yeah,
now, and I'm just like, I'm so glad I stopped watching that show. I
yeah.
could not keep up with it.
I never started watching it, but I mean, I know the Archie comics get kind of wonky anyways, so
Yeah,
maybe it fits, and maybe that's what they think they're doing. But the way it started off didn't seem like they were building a wonky kind of universe. So,
yeah.
it is what it is. But yeah, so Death of the CW probably coming in 2023 with I would assume the Flash ending.
I think because there is a lot of rumors right now that
Hmm.
there has been conversations. Well, I think one of the showrunners has confirmed that they have had conversations about season 9 being its last season,
Yeah.
but there has been no confirmation of it being its last
Yeah.
season.
I'm sure Grant Gustin, seeing all the dominoes fall, would like to be able to say that his show finished,
Yeah.
you know? And so it's probably like, hey, let's end it on season 9 so we can say we didn't get canceled, you know?
Yeah.
Or if anything, you do one of those, like, season 10 is like 6 episodes and it's just a banger. Like, you do a last six
Because
banger
because I
episodes.
do think they want to be on the air when the Flash movie comes out,
Yeah.
because there's still rumors of him showing up in that movie. So I
Yeah,
do
which would be
think that
really
they
cool.
want to like bring up numbers, especially if it's last season. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, we got all these viewers coming in for the last season.
Yeah.
Boom, grand finale.
Yeah. I'm telling you, no, you do the grand finale with him getting stuck in the Speed Force, and you just end the series like that, and then have him show up in the Flash movie. You'd be like, what?
That
Like,
would be pretty cool. Yeah.
you know. Although they kind of already did that with the Kevin Smith episode. Wasn't he in the Speed Force for like an episode? They were like, we're
Oh
never gonna see
yeah,
him. Didn't it
yeah,
end on one season like
yeah.
that, and then the next season he came back?
I think it was literally season 5 to season 6. Like
Yeah,
he was like, "Oh, I have to say goodbye to everybody. This was like what I promised to the Speed
yeah.
Force," and like literally the premiere episode. Hey guys, I'm back.
Yeah, that's what I hated about the Flash. Like they solved everything in an episode, and it was the worst thing ever. But this next thing that may not be getting canceled, or it's not even a thing yet, but there are rumors of an Amanda Waller series coming out. Now, you actually have a tweet that you sent to the Discord that has possible details about this, but
Yes.
the rumors are that oh my god, Viola Davis is
Hmm.
in talks to star and produce an Amanda Waller series on HBO Max.
Yes. So from what I have seen, And from what Daniel RPK has put out there on his Patreon for people actually pay for these scoops. I'm like,
Yeah.
they're gonna come out eventually. Why even pay for them?
Hey man, that's what people say about porn too, right? So
Oh,
people want
that's
those
so good.
HD scoops, Clay. That's why they pay for it.
Oh shit. Okay, well the tweet is, let me actually bring it up here. Is the fact that in the original Peacemaker ending that was
Yeah.
cut, Waller was hiring villains to stalk and kill all the witnesses of the Task Force X program before her trial. I think the new series will be about that.
That
So,
would be pretty cool.
but does that include
Mm-hmm.
freaking now James Gunn's fiance? What was her name? Harcourt.
Yeah, hardcore. I don't think she should star in it again. I think she should make a cameo. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing though, like, because we've heard rumors, and I think it
Mm-hmm.
was accidentally slipped, the fact that Harcourt is going to be in Black Adam.
Yeah.
So I'm sure this series is going to take place after, the events of Black Adam, but
Hmm.
also after the
Yeah, it
fact
hasn't
of
even started filming
Peacemaker.
yet, so.
Exactly. So do you kill off this character that is now going to connect your series, or do you keep her going,
No, you
But
can't. She almost died in the. I mean, spoilers. She almost died in the last series.
exactly.
So you can't do that again. No, I
I
think what you can have is you can have failed assassination attempts.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true. Yeah. But I, like, even Kid Stu was like, Deathstroke? And
Yeah.
that's the dream, man. That's the dream that a
Well, we
Waller hires Deathstroke
yeah
to
we
to do
talked about it
the
on the podcast that Joe Manganiello put out that weird, like decrypted looking glitchy photo that everybody knows him for of Deathstroke, and he just said something on, I don't know what the caption was, but people were like, oh shit, could he be coming
coming
back as
back. Yeah.
Deathstroke? And that would be pretty cool. Because Deathstroke, even in the comics right now, he looks older. So you could
Mhm.
easily put Joe Manganiello in there. Like, age doesn't matter for Deathstroke.
Yeah.
And um as long as he's a badass, that's all that matters. But yeah, it would be cool if you had Deathstroke just killing people in this series. I think what should happen is you should see a lot of people from the Suicide Squad movie, like all the people that were in the offices, they should all be getting offed, like one by one.
Yes.
You know what I
Because
mean?
it wasn't Harcourt. Do you know what the first person who should get killed is?
The one that hit her.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
and
should
she
be
got like demoted or some like thrown in jail or something like that. They say it at the end of the movie or something like that, or
yeah.
maybe it's at the start of the Peacekeeper. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, all those people should get off because we know from David Ayer's Suicide Squad, Amanda Waller has no problem killing people. She
Mhm.
offed a bunch of people herself. So I think that's kind of cool. It shows, continuity that she's down to do that. And yeah, hiring Deathstroke would be pretty awesome. Now, I know Drew jumped straight to like, oh, would you waste Harley Quinn and Idris Elba? Or he said Margot Robbie and Idris Elba, but he's like, are you going to really waste them on a TV show? Like, a pass or whatever. And I don't think that's what they would do. It would be cool to have a cameo from them, but they just
Well,
don't die.
okay, so and Kid Stu also took it as like the slang term of waste, as in like, do you think that they would kill Margot
Yes.
Robbie and
Yes.
Idris Elba on an HBO Max show? I don't think so. But also, I don't think Idris Elba and Harley Quinn would die. Like,
No, not at all. If they're gonna die, they're gonna die on the big screen. Actually, I think Kid Stu took it originally in the way of wasting their screen time on a show when they're big enough to be on a movie.
yeah, and then he's like, "Oh wait, do you
Yeah.
mean this also?"
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, so I can see both ways, of course.
Yeah.
But I do think that we kind of need to get away of the stigma of there is no wasting their time on a TV show anymore.
Yeah.
Like with if you have a quality producer, a quality director, and good scripting,
Mm-hmm.
people want to get paid. That's
Yeah.
just what that's what they'll do. And we have seen shows make it big. Like,
Yeah.
do you honestly think you can go to Bryan Cranston and be like, man, what a waste of 5 freaking
Yeah.
seasons, right?
Yeah.
Like, no.
He's
Like
coming
he's
back.
exactly
Yeah.
to Better Call Saul, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can't go to these freaking actors and be like, hey, James Gunn kind of wants you on the show, connects you to the movie you did, but we're gonna tell him no because it's just a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you could have a fun episode of Deathstroke like trying to kill Harley Quinn. And she's just like, oh my God. Like, and she's like diving through stuff and be like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Just doing very
Yeah,
Harley shit and like surviving. Deathstroke could be like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? This girl's slippery. And then Harley could maybe go to Gotham and be like, I need some help. And then silhouette of Batgirl.
Gotham City Sirens, boom,
Yeah,
right there.
boom. You could set up a bunch of stuff like that, or you could have maybe, and it sucks because I don't think this person's going to be getting a job anytime soon. But maybe Idris Alba is being chased down by Deathstroke. Maybe needs some help and goes to a la Yo Deadshot. I need some help because I got another lethal assassin on my ass. You know what I mean? And then Deadshot would be like, "Is it Chris Rock?" And then we'll go from there.
Or Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, yeah, for real. That's what I'm gonna be waiting for, right? There's gonna be some Deadshot memes now, and it's gonna be like Chris Rock and the crosshairs and fucking Dave Chappelle and every other comedian out there.
Oh
Um,
shit.
but yeah, no, like you could do something like that, and like you could use these shows to spin off other shows. Obviously, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We thought that maybe this was gonna spin off into Blue Beetle. Like there was rumors of that.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. But yeah, if this is spinning off into an Amanda Waller thing, I would like them to do a serious take of what is going to happen to Amanda Waller after this, because I think if you were to blow something up like that, to drop a huge organization, we see it in reality, right? Like it just happened this week. I know some people are probably listening to the podcast, oh, don't fucking talk about politics. I don't really give a shit. We just talk about whatever we want on this podcast. But the thing is there's apparently a leak that they're gonna abolish Roe v. Wade, right? Like that's the big topic of this week, and that's reality. What's happening right now? So, and it's over. Everybody's talking about it. Every news outlet. It's all over Twitter. It's everywhere. So, if you have a show like Peacemaker, where it just came out that there was this kill squad going around doing American, secret jobs, everybody's going to talk about that. Look at what happened when they leaked all the freaking, oh my God, Snowden shit, right? Like all the Snowden shit, the NSA or whatever. That was all over. It's still, the dude can't even come back to America. Like he's hiding away in Russia or some shit. Like, so it's huge. It's huge news. So you could make a whole series about that. And James Gunn said it's not going to be as comedic as, freaking Peacemaker was. And I like that. I like that James Gunn is showing like, oh yeah, I could do comedy, but I could also do really fucking serious.
And that's what I want to see. I want it because a lot of people, although it wasn't, a lot of people were like, oh, he's just gonna bring Guardians of the Galaxy to the DC universe.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that. There was some parts of his humor that were in there.
Yeah.
But overall, there was a mixture of really intense moments, some comedy, some emotional moments, and I want to see what kind of range James Gunn can have, because I know he has range that are not related to big IPs.
Yeah.
But when it comes to these big IPs like DC Comics, I want to see that range happen with those characters.
Yeah, for sure. And he hasn't disappointed yet. So I'm curious to see what he's gonna do. I hope he does get more. I hope he's gonna do Justice League, even though there's rumors saying that he doesn't want to touch Justice League. But I would hope that he does, because I would like to see that. Anyways, we'll see what happens. If we get some more news about that, of course, we'll bring that to you. But that is all the main entertainment news. We have a little bit of comic news that was kind of weird, that I saw Clay talking about it on Twitter. But we're going to be getting a Green Hood comic or something.
Yeah, so this was a little out there. This comes from Bleeding Cool, so take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes they're spot on the scoops that they get, and sometimes they're not. So with everything that's going on with the Dark Crisis, dealing with multiverse stuff again and everything else, it seems that we are going to be getting a story about Jason Todd on a different Earth that is, in fact, going to be a Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Now, how exactly that plays out, I'm not really sure because does he really need to be a lantern? Because again, we said it in the Discord. It was me, you, Red Hood. Like, it's Red Hood. Why
Yeah.
would he become a Green Lantern?
Yeah.
Jason Todd has not shown a huge amount of willpower more
Yeah.
so than he has his anger.
Yeah.
So why isn't he not a Red Lantern?
Yeah.
It's
I know
staring you
some
right
people.
in the face.
Yeah, some people say it's a little too on the nose, but I mean, it's Red Hood. Like, it just makes more sense. Now, it would be a cool story that he got a Red Lantern ring and was able to control his anger for good.
Yeah.
That's a compelling story because usually Red Lanterns are pretty bad guys, right? Like,
Yeah.
I
Like
haven't
it,
read
it
too much.
the only thing with Red Lanterns though is that you cannot take off the ring
Mm.
because it becomes like your life source. And
Mm.
so like as soon as you take off the ring, it basically stops your heart. Um
Okay.
so it's very, very interesting. So that's probably why they don't want to compel him to just always be a Red Lantern.
But
But
it's another Earth, so
yeah, yeah.
you know.
So I it was just very, very odd that out of everything that would leak, this leaked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just very odd.
I'm not gonna lie. The idea of him becoming a lantern, whether it be green, red, blue, orange, I don't even care. Pink, I don't care. It's kind of interesting because we've been getting the same old Red Hood stories forever. You know,
And
he
that
tries to get back in with the Bat family. He fails. He tries to be good again. Blah blah blah.
I can't
Kill
remember
somebody.
if we were talking it here on the podcast or we were talking about it somewhere else, but a friend of mine had said, the only thing I found interesting about Red Hood was the mystery behind if he was actually Hush.
Yeah,
you know, and ever since then, he hasn't been as interesting. And I was like,
mm-hmm.
oh, that's an interesting take. But you're right. When you look back at Red Hood, we have the Hush story, we have Under the Red Hood,
Mm-hmm.
and then for
He
people
killed
who
Penguin or tried to kill Penguin, which was
try to
kind of
kill
cool.
Penguin, and then for people who are big fans, probably don't know about the story, but it's a great story. It's a 6-issue mini arc. Is Red Hood Lost Days, which
Yeah,
is
that's
like
good.
the
Yeah.
days like after he has been resurrected
Mm-hmm.
with the pit. So other than those stories,
It
there
leads
hasn't.
into Under the Red Hood, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, like
Yeah.
you those are the four stories that you really think of when you think of Red Hood. And if you look at the timing of those stories, they are very far and in between. There is not a
Yeah.
whole lot of like consistent Red Hood stories. So this may be one that puts him back on the map, but
Yeah.
like until the next story, which is going to be like 10 years from now or whatever.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, we've talked about plenty of good Red Hood ideas you could do on this podcast, but it is what it is. Um, to do the Green Lantern thing, I mentioned this in Discord, I believe, or maybe it was on live stream. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was in Discord, but you could have it. He should get the ring right when he has the chance to kill the Joker, but it shows that he has the willpower not to kill the Joker because I think
See,
that's a
I
big
think that's
moment.
going to be more intriguing is how is he going to obtain the ring? I
Yeah,
think is the biggest part of that story. Not
yeah,
not the fact that he does have a ring, because everybody's like, oh well, he uses guns. Technically not anymore, but there
yeah,
was Simon Baz who also used guns while being a Green Lantern.
yeah.
So that's nothing new. But let's see what he does to even obtain that ring in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll be the only thing that could be interesting about it. But I mean, the Red Ring just seems so much more fitting. Because I mean, like I've always said, like you could, the whole Bat family doesn't need to be all human people that don't have powers. Like, you could easily fit Gotham Girl in there, I feel like. And if you were to give Red Hood a lantern ring and let him do that, Red Hood is still going to have the personality that has him fuck up. You know what I mean? So he's never going to be Batman. He's not going to be the guy that plans out all the missions. He's not going to be that guy. You can always tell stories of his anger getting the best of him, but he overcomes it because he has the willpower to keep fighting with the ring or whatever. You know what I mean? I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind them having a superpowered person because then you can put them in different situations. Because after a while, like, Batman has told so many stories, and you're just like, all right, let's tell that same Batman story, but with Nightwing. Let's tell that same Batman story, but with Tim Drake. Let's tell that, it just becomes everything over and over. But if you gave them a different power set, then it makes it a little bit more interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind seeing that. But we've seen somebody try to do something with Gotham Girl already. Crashed and burned, in my opinion, after one issue.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Duke Thomas could still be amazing. They don't do shit with him. Like, so the Bat Family doesn't have the best run if you're not Nightwing, So
Man, ain't that the truth?
yeah, Batgirl I think is third. Tim Drake seventh, somewhere down there. But anyways, let's move on to viewer questions, which I have not even checked YouTube, so I don't
I
know.
have questions up on YouTube right now. First one is from, well, actually 1 day ago and then 6 days ago. So let's see what Red Hood's. Oh my gosh, he wrote a novel.
Yeah, I know he just has a question at the bottom, but he was kind of just responding to something we said in the podcast.
Yeah,
I'll
he
jump
was
to
he
the
was
question.
explaining why he enjoyed Robin.
Yeah.
So his question is, let's see here. What is your ranking of the Robins?
Yeah, but I think
I
he asked it in
so
a different way,
so he
right?
said, I asked Juice this once on a live stream, but I'm gonna change it up a little bit. Rank them by not who the best character is, but by who was the best Robin. For example, my favorite Robin is Jason Todd, but that's only because he's the Red Hood. But him as a Robin was not the best. The best person who was Robin, in my opinion, was Dick or Damien. Hopefully that makes sense.
Damien. I mean, not Damien. Dick has to be number one. Like,
Yeah.
there's nobody better than that. He's the only person I think should take over the mantle. I've said this a million times.
Yeah.
He is the OG. He is the best Robin. And then after that is kind of like a toss up. I feel like because here's the thing: people would be like, Tim Drake's the next best Robin, and you could put up an argument with that. But he's also Red Robin and not Robin for a lot of his time. So are we counting that?
Who, Tim Drake?
Yeah, because
Yeah, because he's technically still a Robin. Because even in Detective, Tynan's
Mhm.
run of Detective, he has the classic Robin green and red costume,
Mhm.
but his R symbol is an RR. So it's Red
Yeah.
Robin still,
So
technically.
I know we're doing a color scheme, but Damien's already there at that point, so you would assume he's Robin.
Yeah.
So if you want to get into a technicality, then it'll be interesting. But you could probably give Drake the second slot if you wanted to. I think you can interchange him and Damien, to be honest.
I I would say you could. It would be Dick and then Drake and Damien on any given day.
Yeah.
Then it would be Jason Todd
Yeah.
and then Stephanie Brown.
Yeah, and then if you want to throw Carrie Kelly at the very bottom, you can do that.
Oh, that's
And
right.
I mean, he never claimed the Robin mantle, but he was part of the Robins.
Yeah.
So,
He's an
but
honorary member.
yeah, he would have I think he would have made. I don't know if he would have looked. I mean, his jacket was fire though. Like his outfit was fire.
I did
really
like
liked it.
his like almost
Um,
Letterman like jacket. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I think that would be the list there. You can't really put Jason Todd that high because as a Robin, he kind of sucked.
He was a dick.
Yeah, he was a terrible Robin. Like he caused more problems for Batman as he does as Red Hood. So like
Yeah.
he's pretty bad. I don't think he could crack the top 3 in my opinion. I think he's solidified in 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this though, if Batgirl was a Robin for a day, she could give Dick Grayson a run for his money because of how good she is.
Oh yeah, I think so.
So I think if she was a Robin, she could have done that. Now, granted, didn't we have did she become a Robin at any point in an Elseworld story? Or that was Stephanie Brown, right? She became Damien's Robin
I don't
in
know.
Dead Island or whatever. I think
I
that's what it
don't know
was.
if let me do
It was
some research.
deceased. I think she became a Robin.
Yes.
Yeah, she became
Yes.
Damien's Robin. I think.
Yeah.
So, did she die? I don't remember if she lived or died in that series.
I don't think they ever showed it.
Yeah, I think she just said that for that one panel, and I don't think we ever saw her again. So, typical Stephanie Brown. Stephanie Brown Robin. So yeah, there's that question, but we have another one, right? What do we got on
Yes.
YouTube?
Raphael says, "Hi, I finished reading Batman Killing Time. I loved it. Very funny. I really like the new villain, especially because his introduction is the type that I like, which is that they do not have Batman as their main objective, but rather Batman is the guy that gets in the way." So we will
We'll be
get
talking about
more
that later.
on. We will be
Yeah.
talking about that later. His question: if there is a social issue slash topic would you like to address or talk in Batman comics if you were the writers? And he just made a offhand comment because he listens to my other podcast. He says, no
Oh,
novels for Fanboy Clay, who loves them so much. So I have been reading a lot of Star Wars novels, and I have been
okay.
talking about how, like, Star Wars a long time ago has done a
Mm-hmm.
lot of canon novelizations,
Mm-hmm.
and I've getting a little bit more open to the idea if, like, DC or Marvel would ever want to do that, like
Okay.
with the Suicide Squad
Mm-hmm.
and seeing Peacekeeper or Peacemaker, sorry, and then, like, hey, there's this side story that they want to do with Deathstroke, but they don't want to make a TV show about it. Instead, they do a novel,
Yeah.
and James Gunn says, "Oh yeah, like that's canon. Like
Yeah.
I helped this person write that book." Then I
Mm.
would be like, "Oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna read it and see how it intertwines with these characters." You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they've done some of those stories before. You can always go find some random Batman novels at half price books. You
Yeah.
know, that's a store here in Texas. I don't know if it's available anywhere else, but like any just thrifty bookstore, you could probably find some random. I bought a couple of random Batman novels at bookstores before, and I'm just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And sometimes they have good ratings, sometimes they don't, but they've done it before. And again, I mean, there's so much stuff in the 80 years of Batman that's canon. Why wouldn't those be canon as well? You know.
Yeah.
Um, Although I've heard the Star Wars universe when it comes to that kind of stuff is a little bit more like, I think what's his face, the main guy that created it, I'm forgetting his name, George Lucas.
George Lucas.
Wasn't he like more like, let me see it before you put it out and shit like that
Yeah,
back in the
yeah.
day? Yeah,
Now, because he technically doesn't own it, like
yeah,
they don't really care, but
yeah,
they do have, like, some, like, bigger rules that Lucasfilm made, or
yeah,
George Lucas made in the Star Wars universe, that's like, hey, this is solidified as a no, you can't touch that, type of rule.
yeah. And then you have the typical Disney rules nowadays: no over sexualized characters, all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Which they also like. Yeah, I believe it's a rule that you cannot do slave Leia bikini ever again. I believe that is a rule.
Yeah, I think
So
that most people have them commissioned to be
yeah,
made because
which
you
they're
can't
so much
find
better when
them.
you get them commissioned, anyways. So like, if you ever want, it's why I if you're one of these people listening to our podcast right now, I just got to call you out and say it's kind of stupid if you ever get offended about like sexuality in gaming or shows or whatever. Because like I remember when Tracer from Overwatch, everybody was so mad when she came out as like a lesbian or whatever. They're like, she's a lesbian. Why are you making her a lesbian? I'm like, dude, go to R34, search up Tracer. She ain't a lesbian there, okay? Like, don't get so upset about this. Like, it doesn't really fucking matter. It doesn't. Like, if you
No.
want the kind of content you want, you can find it on the internet. And if you can't find it, commission it. Like,
But
put your money where
also,
your mouth
like,
is.
the one thing that bothers me about that kind of thing is, like, when in Overwatch
Mm-hmm.
is her relationship ever a key point in that game?
She's shown with a girl who you assume is her girlfriend in
Well,
some of
no,
the series.
I understand that, but, like, when you are playing the game of Overwatch,
Oh yeah,
like,
I haven't
her
been keeping up with it.
relationship status has
Yeah,
nothing to do with killing the enemy team, you know?
True. True.
So that's why I'm just like, who fucking cares? So
Yeah, yeah. I don't understand why people get so bent out of shape about it, but I just always find that funny. I'm like, bro, just go on the internet, go on Reddit. You'll find whatever you want them to be. If you wanted chicks with dicks, you'll find that shit too. Like, you'll find whatever you want. Just go check it out, bro.
but his,
Anyways,
but his question is there a social issue or topic that you would like to address in Batman comics if you were the writer?
um, I mean, I don't see why I wouldn't. I'm pretty sure I would, and some people are gonna be groaning. Oh, of course, you're all this and
and
that, but
and
like,
we've talked about this briefly in the sense of not necessarily us being the writers of Batman, but for the
yeah,
fact that like comics were created because of political issues.
yeah,
Like comics were made as propaganda. Like let's
yeah,
be completely honest here. So like there has been a lot of political issues, quote unquote, that have made their way into comics and even Batman comics throughout the
yeah.
years. Now, as far as which ones, like honestly, I do think that freaking Ridley had a point that he could play with
Mm-hmm.
Jace, and he just hasn't been playing it right,
Yeah,
you
terrible,
know?
terrible execution. Yeah, there's if you have to write the. I don't think political issues are a problem in comics. It depends on how you write them, right? It's like Supergirl season 1, where they kept just throwing like, "I don't need a man," or "I'm a woman, I'm badass." Like they kept throwing it in your face when all you had to do was show us that she was a badass. You know, show don't tell. Like
Yeah,
I don't need to hear "I am woman, hear me roar." Just show me that she is better than these villain men, or if you want to throw men or women, just that she's facing and she's just a badass. Like that is what people want. Like people, I think that's what half of people complain about when it comes to like these agendas. I think it's just they don't like the way it's written. There are
yeah,
people out there that the moment they just see some kind of leftist thing or they see a slight at Trump or Republicans or religion or whatever, they automatically just get fucking butthurt. And they're like, oh,
yeah,
I don't want this in my comic. America. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, you're not writing it. If you have a problem with it, start writing, make some good shit, have people pay for it, and then have DC be like, hey, you want to write something for us? And you can write your bullshit all you want. You know what I mean? That's what I tell everybody. You have a problem with movies that you see? Make your own movies. Do it.
yeah.
You can make them with the iPhone. Apple tells you that every single time they have a fucking new iPhone come out. They're just all like, hey, check this shit out. You can make movies. Look at Zack Snyder. He made a movie with an iPhone, like,
And also, just
so.
because we are recording this on May 5th, yesterday was May the 4th, and
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars Day. Like Apple had an entire event on freaking making sound for movies with
Yeah.
GarageBand on your MacBooks. So
Yeah.
your MacBook, your phone, like you can do whatever you want with technology these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. And if that's what you want to do, I'm pretty sure there's an audience out there for it. My biggest thing is it's just make it good. I was totally down for Ridley at the start, being like, all right, I hope he tackles this, and he just didn't do it well. And I'm
Yeah,
like, dude, like this is something like he got hired during the BLM movement. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, this is the hottest time you could write something so amazing, throw it out there. You could have probably put the bat symbol like on BLM shit, like if it got that hot. You know what I mean? If it was that popular, because DC is not opposed to selling themselves out for a cause. Whatever's gonna sell more books.
yeah,
So they would have had no problem with that. But my thing is if you got to write it well. You know what I mean? It can't be like so thrown in your face. Like it's gotta just be meshed into a story that's like a greater villain. Like, you know what I mean, or a bigger cause. And yeah, I would definitely love to talk about stuff like that. And in a place like Gotham, you could talk about so many different things. One of my favorite Superman stories, and I don't know if this was Bendis or not, it might have been the only book that I liked of his, was when Superman was going around and saving a bunch of people, and there was like this crazy redneck dude that was going to shoot up a whole
that
factory.
was Dan Jurgens, I believe.
Okay, so that's when I was kind of reading Superman at that time. I love that issue because it talked about political, social issues. It had Superman in it. He was saving the world. He was doing all this kind of shit. I was like, that is how you kind of talk about shit. Like Superman was doing his thing, and it just so happened to also deal with something that's happening in today's world. And I think that's the way you do it.
Yeah.
But there's gonna be a lot of people that are always gonna say that line of like, I read comics to get away from this shit. And you know what? That's fine. But at the same time, just to let you know, you are paying money to a big corporation that is making millions of dollars. That is, a CEO is probably buying their fifth penthouse, a la Johnny Depp from the trial today. He has 5 penthouses and like 5 houses in LA. He has 10
It's
places to
fucking
live.
nuts.
This is why you shouldn't care about people that are super rich, ladies and gentlemen. You know? Because, like, you're over
Oh.
here trying to scrounge up and save for your apartment or shit, and, like, everybody's like, I got 10 houses. 10 houses! Shitting me. I was watching that today. I was like, man, fuck both of these people, even though I like Johnny Depp. I was just like, fuck Johnny Depp, dude. I was like, come on. I was like, shit. Although I do like when he goes to the hospital and he's Jack Sparrow for kids. I always appreciate
Yeah.
that. Anyways, let's jump over to Discord and see what they
So
got going.
I'm gonna go ahead and say thank you, Ethan. I was having a
Yeah.
very hectic week, and I completely forgot to ask the question 4 questions at the normal time that I do. And then Ethan was like, did I miss?" Like, because
Yeah.
he's like, I am burning up with a
Yeah. I
question.
got a
I
question.
need to ask it,
Yeah.
but he wants to ask it at the right time.
The
So he's
ponderer must ponder. Yeah.
so I did ask the question later than I usually do, so I apologize for that. But the first question we got was from Young. What is the oldest movie you have seen?
I don't know. I've seen Casablanca, and I know that's pretty old. So
It is either freaking what is that freaking movie? The Rosebud movie. Freaking
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're. Fuck, Rosebud. It's got like a weird name. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking
yeah.
about.
You know
Black
what?
and white drops the
Yeah.
snowball or
So
drops the
either
thing.
either that
Hmm.
or and I think that is much older than what I'm about to say. But I actually am a huge fan of Elvis Presley, and
Okay.
I've seen some of his movies. They weren't the greatest movies,
Yeah.
but I've seen the movies that he did. I think he did like 10 movies at one point,
Mm,
and I've seen a majority of those.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Didn't that keep him from making more music? Like, didn't he like, I'm gonna be a movie star now?
yeah,
I don't know a lot about Elvis,
they
so
they're doing a biopic on him, and Tom Hanks is gonna be like the
the
his
racist
like
manager.
yeah.
Yeah. Nice, Tom Hanks. All right. Will this be the role that makes us hate him? Like, nah, Tom Hanks can do whatever he wants.
Well, like in the
You know?
trailer of that movie, the very first line you hear is Tom Hanks in this very silly voice that he's using for this
Hmm.
character. He's like, "Some would say I'm the villain of the story,"
Yeah.
and it's like, God damn it, Tom Hanks, I'm gonna hate you after this the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, although, do we really hate DiCaprio after what he was doing in Django? You know?
I mean, that's also true.
But Tom Hanks, I feel like, can do whatever the fuck he wants. He's Tom Hanks.
That is
He's Woody. He can't get mad at Woody.
Next question, which I was actually debating if we had ever done this question. You had actually said that we hadn't, kind of, but in a different context. The
Yeah.
Ponderer himself asks, "Do you think we should get more DC animated films?" And I'm not talking about movies like Injustice or Batman Long Halloween, but actual DC animation movies uh, with a distinct animation with an original story, whether it's Superman, Batman, Flash. So he's thinking theatrical
Yeah.
because kind of like Spider Verse. Man, this
Mhm.
kid does not. It's either Batman or Spider Man. That's all he's talking
Yeah.
about.
This did not seem like an Ethan question. So I was shocked. I was so shocked. And I was like, "What?" I think somebody has taken over Ethan's account. Made this question, but they're like, "I need to add Spider-Man in there so it's Ethan." Then I'm good. But to answer the question, which I think it's a good one, I actually saw somebody post on Twitter today. They're like, I wish DC would do more animated stuff. And they had this really cool looking animated Batman like picture that somebody made. And I was like, damn, that would look pretty awesome. Yeah, why wouldn't you? I mean, I think it would be pretty smart because one, if it's animated, it can be geared towards kids. But there's enough Batman fans out there that they would probably go watch it. It doesn't need to be like super pets or whatever. Um, and yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't. But at the same time, Mask at the Phantasm fell flat, which it's a great freaking movie, but it wasn't a box office like mega success that they wanted.
You say
So
that, but I will say this. What if Batman Mask of the Phantasm came out today for the first time? Not like a Fathom event, hey, you can go see this whenever,
yeah,
but like it is legit its first theatrical release in 2020, 2022.
yeah, it would probably do way better than it did back then for sure. But I think the old heads at WB still have that mindset. They're like, oh, the last time we did something like
Yeah.
that.
And
Um,
and I will say this, because a lot of talk about animation has come back because the next interpretation of that whole universe that is in the animation series that they do, that's straight to DVD, straight to streaming stuff, just came out with, it's called Constantine House of Mystery, and it legit, small spoiler, connects everything,
hmm,
even the old universe with the new universe. And we also got a trailer to a new, like the new universe that connects to like the Long Halloween, the Superman one, and the Justice Society one that came out last year,
yeah,
uh, with Green Lantern. It's going to be a John Stewart Green Arrow team up.
hmm,
And I don't know if people knew this. Those movies, the straight to DVD movies that they do, have a limited budget of $3 million. 3 million.
damn,
If you up that budget just a little bit more, well, not even. If you do a actual, hey, same animation as like, or same process of like Disney Pixar,
yeah,
but do DC characters, put money into this,
yeah.
I think that would make a ton of money.
Yeah, I think it could. Obviously, you would need to start off with Batman and see how well that does, and then
Yeah.
go from there. But yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't. Like, if you had like a really good story and then you did it animated, I don't see why it wouldn't be good. Probably be better than the Batman and more entertaining. So
And a lot of people, I mean, I don't want to get rid of live action stuff whatsoever, but
yeah,
people are like, I would much rather have a DC animated universe in
mhm.
theaters rather than the live action. I'm not going to say that, but
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that either.
like there was heavy rumors, and we even talked about it here on Batman News Weekly. There was heavy rumors that, you know, there was some talk about how Batman Beyond was going to be WB's Into the Spider-Verse, you
Yeah, what
know.
happened to that?
There
That
hasn't
would have
been
been cool.
anything. Yeah, there hasn't been anything on it since then. So,
Um, I mean, yeah, that I feel like that got announced when the Flash freshly got announced around that time too. So it's been a long time.
yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Although, a random side note too, I know Dwayne Johnson, or like a producer from Black Adam, was talking about how all the delays are because of VFX.
Yeah.
So just another confirmation on that. But yeah, so good question by the Ponderer this week. Um, I let's see what else.
Drew
These next two
has
questions are for you.
Yeah,
So
Drew has a silly question. He's like, "Hey, my question is, why does Moon Knight suck so bad?" Trick question is because it's because it's Marvel. Um, the I will say this: the big problem that Marvel has been having with their Disney Plus shows is that they are not giving the shows enough episodes.
hmm,
They are sticking with 6 episodes when I think the magic number is 8.
yeah,
They don't have enough to give a proper ending, and so they are rushing their last episode, and it
mhm,
just doesn't feel great. Like when you
that
watch the
sucks.
finale, you should be like, "Oh man, that was so fucking awesome! I can't wait until the next
Is
season or
it
the next
Titans bad?
film." No, no, it's just like you get to a point where you're like, "Oh shit, like this is crazy," and then you realize, "Oh shit, next week's the fucking finale. How are they gonna
Yeah,
answer any of the fucking questions that are happening here?" And
yeah,
then all of those answers come within like the first 15 minutes, and then
hate
there's
that.
a giant, the big problem that everybody has is, oh, the big CGI fight, at the
Yeah,
finales. So That's the big problem that Marvel is having right now.
That sucks. I haven't seen anything on Disney Plus still. So, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I don't watch anything, man. I don't
Man,
have
I
time
I would
anymore.
honestly say Loki and WandaVision. Those are the two big ones that you should
Yeah,
probably watch.
yeah.
Um,
Over the Star Wars stuff?
ooh, but see, I love anime, and Star Wars Visions is fucking fire. I watched
Yeah.
those episodes again yesterday.
Hmm.
Um, next question is from Arwitz, is saying this question is more so for Clay, but what do you think of Superman and Lois so far? I think it's really good, and I hope WB keeps the show. This is what I was kind of teasing earlier. I am
Hmm.
really loving this show. I can honestly say this is the only show, like TV show. Of course, movies are a completely different thing. This is the only TV show that I could believe Batman exists in this universe.
Hmm.
Like, it
Interesting.
is that good. And
Interesting.
it does have, it's still the CW, so you will get those kind of, like, there was a cringe moment this week's episode that I like legit, it was like me as a little kid. I had to like pause it and just like, I don't know if I want to watch this episode. Like, you know how you kind of like look away or like
Yeah.
do whatever as a kid. It was one of those moments, and I'm just like, oof. I keep forgetting that this show is technically still on the CW. It does have those moments every now and again, but it's not full of it. So where I
Yeah.
can actually still enjoy the show. I do think that it is their most liked show right now currently. But as I said before, I do think it's on the chopping block.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
haven't seen that either. I mean, I haven't touched anything from the CW, but that show does look different compared to the rest. So I will say it does look intriguing. And then the last one comes from Charlie. It just says top 5 characters story wise. So I don't think this is necessarily in the Batman universe, but I mean,
Uh,
Batman, Superman,
yeah,
Green Lantern,
top 5 character story wise.
Joker.
I would
Um,
say Superman, Green Lantern, Batman, Flash, and
oh yeah, Flash.
I would have to give the 5th one to shit. What am I even reading right now that's DC related? That
Over
is,
Joker? Joker has some iconic stories.
see, I haven't read a whole lot of Joker stories though.
Hmm.
You know,
But John
because
Carpenter, that's all you need.
the dog's got a gun. I need to go back and read that freaking
Dude,
book, man.
I
It
want.
was so good.
I'm pretty sure I bought that issue, so that needs to come out in
Oh,
a hardcover by itself.
it's
Like,
so good.
yeah.
Um, okay, so those 4, and I would honestly have to say, shit. You know what? I'm gonna say, oh no, Lex
It
Luthor.
sucks that you can't say Wonder Woman. It's so
It,
sad.
it is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely sad because I know a lot of people say, oh, freaking
Greg Rucka,
Greg
Wonder Woman.
Rucka and freaking what's his name who was diagnosed last year.
George
Yeah,
Perez.
yeah, George Perez.
Mm-hmm.
They say his Wonder Woman is iconic. Unfortunately, I
I
haven't
haven't
read
read
it.
that.
So
Yeah.
I can't say that, you know, Wonder Woman is, you know, top 5 story
Mm-hmm.
wise, because just with sheer numbers, every other character that I just said has more stories that I've, you know, people have said, oh, this story, oh, this story, oh, this story.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time. Wonder Woman doesn't have that, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah. To be honest, I would go after your top writers. I would go Jeff Johns, Tom King, Scott, bring back Scott. I was like, for like the next big Wonder Woman event and be like, all of y'all write a Wonder Woman story. And like, if y'all want to do a 6-issue series, a 6-issue miniseries, and we'll just do like, for, I guess, how long's Wonder Woman been around? Almost 80 years? Is it already 80 years?
It's gonna be, I believe it is 70 something.
Yeah. So I would get my biggest writers to do Wonder Woman stories for the whole year. So maybe you start off with Scott Snyder's Wonder Woman, then it goes into Jeff Johns' Wonder Woman, then it goes into Tom King's, or however you want to arrange it, and just have your best writers, whoever you think that is, to write Wonder Woman stories to fucking get people to be like, these are stories you should read, because it's sad that one of your big three is not in your top five of best stories. Like, it just makes no sense. So there's that. And I think that is all the questions we have for this week.
Yes, it is.
And we are going to go into comic reviews now. And let's start off with Batman 124 because this story.
123.
Oh, it's 123? My bad, I wrote it down wrong. 123. I legit stopped reading this book after one panel. Do you know what panel that is?
No, wait. Let me look at it. I have it up right here.
I think a lot of people before, if you're listening to this on YouTube, go to the comments and be like, guess the panel before you do it right now. Pause the video, go to the comments, leave a comment, and be like, this is the panel that you probably stop reading at. What do you think it is, Clay?
Come on.
Are they still pulling up right now, or what?
It has to be.
I just stopped. I was like, no, and I just skimmed the rest of it, and I was just like picking up words and stuff.
It's got to be because again, it's the conversation we had last issue when Robin jumps in is saying, "Oh, we are such and such like LLC or something," like as in like they're a business, right? Was that
it? Was pretty dumb, but that's not where I stopped. So it's a very like solid panel. It's almost a one-page spread. It's pretty early. It's with a character I hate.
The character you hate? Hold on.
I mean, come on.
They gave okay.
Yeah. I stopped reading the moment I see Ghostmaker getting a call from Batman. He says, "Are you really doing a check-in call, Batman? I'm a little perturbed, by the way." Are you serious?
And did you see that Clown Hunter has a new costume?
Yeah, it just looked like oh yeah, he looks like shit. He looks like Starboy, or what's his name?
He looks like
Nova.
He looks like Starro, just like covered his entire body.
Yeah, I mean, kind of gives. It looks like they were going for Nova vibes, though. I get Nova vibes,
which is weird because he's not like a space character.
Yeah. Again, he should have died.
Where did this suit even come from? Did they have like a mini series with them? I have not read anything with these two characters. But this book, guys, I don't like how Williamson is, like we said last episode, you cannot make campy Damian. Damian has never been a campy character. He has never been a character that is like, oh, I'm going to look at the happy things in life.
Yeah.
Like, that's not who Damian is. And it's okay to make Damian a badass alongside Batman because his father is fucking Batman.
Yeah.
You know? So
I don't know, man. The whole story, like I was like, I'm not a big fan of this art. So I was like, okay, I'll get through it. But dude, once I saw the perturb thing, and if I'm not mistaken, they like bold the perturb thing. Like they really wanted you to see perturbed.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why? It's just like WWE. We're trying to get stupendous over for WrestleMania. And they're like, the greatest stupendous show of all time or whatever. I'm like, bro, what are we in the 30s? Like, perturbed. Like, really? Like, you're trying to make me like this character. And you're making him talk like a dork.
I don't get excited when, like, because, you turn a page and you see a character and you're like, oh, shit, it's this character. I don't get that at all with Ghostmaker.
Yeah. So essentially this comic, I thought was kind of cool. They kind of like tied it into what was happening in Justice League with a bunch of Deathstrokes and, Batman and Robin go interrogate this guy and he ends up giving up the information they need. Of course, they disappear because they already know who they need to go after. They end up running into this Deathstroke. But
that story just ends and then it goes to Deathstroke and his kids.
Yeah.
We see the Hood, which is a character I haven't seen in years.
Yeah.
From Batman Inc. And then Talia and her, freaking ninja squad is like attacking them. And then Respawn is like, oh, we can take them. They're ninjas. And he's like, no, they have a new gimmick. They
Yeah.
stole my gimmick.
Yeah,
Ninjas
that was
with
so lame.
guns. That was bad.
Yeah, it
That
was
was bad.
terrible, dude. How do you go from the first 3 issues of his run to this? Like, he's all like, Tynan, I got you beat. Like, he's trying to speed run
like
Tynan.
it's like, hey, you ruined Batman in 2 years. I can
Yeah.
do it in 3 issues.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
It's so bad, dude. Yeah, Ninjas with Guns was terrible. Yeah, so we see this new Deathstroke guy that's like gonna fight all these people. We see Ninjas with Guns, like Respawn. So this story ends with Respawn trying to save Deathstroke because he's about to get shot up, and he gets shot up, and he's
He
like,
got
we have
lit up. Yeah.
Deathstroke holding him, and he's like, not again, not again. I hope Respawn's dead, but his name's Respawn, so he's gonna come back. I would be
Oh, I hope
surprised.
not. Jesus.
Yeah, he's gonna like show up in whatever that Fortnite battle bus thing is that brings people back. He's like, "Doo-doo-doo-doo, I'm back, Dad. Let's go again. I mean, because hasn't Deathstroke and Batman been in Fortnite? It's canon. Fortnite. No, 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 no. So I hope he's dead. It would be great for him to be dead. Because we don't need this character to keep going. But the reason why I know he's gonna come back is because Damian wants to save him somehow. So that means he's probably going to stick around. So Damian has this little project or whatever.
And of course that's what writers want. They want their brand new characters to stick around, so that way they get the residuals, they get the action figures, they get everything else. That's gonna suck.
Yeah. So Williamson, can't wait for you to get off so we can get a maybe even worse writer or just as same writer in Zdarsky. Zdarsky, please prove me wrong, man. I don't know if you ever come across this podcast and you're just like, man, these guys talk a lot of shit. The moment you fucking give me something great, I'll be like, damn, Zdarsky proved me wrong. Until the next issue comes out and you fall down. And then I'll be like, oh, come on, man. Because that happens a lot around here. But yeah, didn't care about this. And I really don't care until how many issues do we have until Zdarsky jumps on? Because at least that'll look good. That book.
I think he jumps on in June, so we have. This is the last one.
Okay, sure. He doesn't get one in June.
He does get like Shadow War Omega, which is the final book of the story.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure he does not get one. Well, maybe he gets 124. I think he
gets
might
124.
I think so.
Because 125 seems like a good number to jump off a book.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, we'll see what happens then. We got couple more stories with him on it, and maybe he was just too focused on Justice League. That's what we could hope. But we'll see. Anyways, jump over to Neo Batman. This is Batman Beyond Neo Year. I have to say, I kind of liked what happened in this book. How do you feel about it?
I am a little bit on the opposite side.
Oh, okay. I liked it because it was different.
It was different. Yeah. And I'm glad, like, I can't remember who it was that we were talking about. Maybe, it was Jace. It was like, Jace, he's not no, it was regular Batman, because we were like, hey, he doesn't have any money and it's still not like hindering him at all. He's still, he's not running out of batarangs. He's not doing this. Well, Terry McGinnis is running out of stuff. He's running out of batarangs. He's running out of fuel for his rocket boots and all of this other stuff. That's cool. I enjoy that. But like, the one thing that I kind of was a little weirded out was in this
the ending.
He's just like, hey, I need to do this the old-fashioned way. Yeah. And he gets rid of his suit to modify his own like vigilante suit that is being hidden from Gotham, because now Gotham is a living, technological city. And then you've turned the page and then he has his suit again. I was like, what's the whole point then? Yeah. That's why I was a little like, It was a fun gimmick.
But did you like the the new like style that he was doing to go undercover. Did
I
you like
did.
that?
I
Okay.
did. You know, the instead of the domino mask, because he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do something old fashioned with a new twist." And instead
Mhm.
of the original domino mask, it was like two like slits that went down from his forehead to his cheeks.
Yeah.
Those looked really cool. Uh, but I was just like, this didn't really give me much answers
Mhm.
to what we were asking at the end of the first issue. You know,
Mhm.
so I think this I have faith in this book for sure. I think that will get better. Uh, but it did feel a little weird at the very end, you know, with this new character, these three individuals that have been basically taken over by technology.
Yeah.
And he's like, he just goes up to him. He's like, "Hey, instead of being my enemy, I need allies." And then he
Yeah.
just like takes off his mask. He's like, "Look me up in
Yeah.
your internet of a brain that you have now. You know, you can see, I was, down in the dumps. I was a nobody, blah, blah, blah. But now I'm Batman, and, we can change Gotham for the better and all of this other stuff." And they're like, "Nah, we're good." And they just dip. I was like,
Yeah.
what was the point? He just like
Well, I
took
mean,
off
he
his
does
mask
steal the
for no
diamonds
reason.
from them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he shows that he's still somebody, and they kind of hint at this new villain, or I'm assuming what's a villain at the very end, that picks up the diamonds. I liked that. The Normally I'm a stickler for revealing your identity and stuff like that, but when it comes to Batman Beyond, it's such a different world. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And you're living in a place where the city is your villain, and it knows everything about you. So to beat a living sentient being that's in everything you do, you need different allies. And he's already talking about how he's running out of everything. He's like, I can't make more weapons, I can't do all this kind of stuff. So he doesn't have Bruce anymore, and doesn't have the mansion, he doesn't have anything. So you got to do drastic things to make way, right? And if there's this crazy being that can, is technology, it seems like, took over human bodies, maybe they can create you some new stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
maybe McGinnis might have to steal some stuff or give them something in return to get weapons from them or something. You know what I mean?
Oh,
To
that's
keep
true.
fighting the crusade. So he's trying to do new things to beat Gotham, which I find very interesting. You know what would be a good story? And I'm surprised nobody's tried to write this before. Tell us the story of what happens before Batman Beyond is created. And I'm talking about how the city went from the Gotham we know in comics to this new technological Gotham.
Yeah.
Like, I would love that story. Because I think the only way that works is another disaster story. Like,
Like a
Gotham
no
has to be
man's land.
destroyed. Yeah, something like that. But I'm talking about it has to be, like, leveled or something. And you know what would be interesting is if it was a Justice League event. Like, something Superman couldn't stop. And
Oh
it, like,
shit. Yeah.
lands in Gotham and destroys, like, a good chunk of it. And they're like, we're just going to rebuild, and they
Yeah.
start rebuilding. And that's why you could bring in the new guys that take over half of Wayne Enterprises, because
Yeah.
like even Bruce Wayne could be like, I don't have enough money to rebuild all of
The
Gotham.
Powers or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you could be like, I can help you. And then you have Powers and Wayne start building a whole bunch of new places and tell that story. So there's something right there, DC. Just saying, if that happens and y'all make it suck, that's on you, and we'll talk shit because you stole my idea. Just throwing it out there. But I think that would be a cool story because I like the in between shit. But again, like I've said with Zdarsky, when you touch stuff that is off limits, and it's not necessarily off limits, but people don't talk about it, you have to make it a banger
Yeah.
or it's gonna be shit. So just throwing that out there, DC. But yeah, either way, I enjoyed this. Him taking off the mask. I know some people would be upset about it, but at this point, he has nobody. Like his family's out of the city. Like he has no allies, and he even says it. He needs somebody. So I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to get some more people. Like, yo, like we can change the city. Like you're no longer a villain. That matters to me. Like
Yeah.
there's a bigger person, and eventually they're probably going to come after you too. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind him working with Ink or whatever that one is. That's kind of crazy. That showed up in
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Batcat recently. That would be
Yeah.
kind of cool as a villain. That could be maybe his Catwoman because I think it's a female character, right?
Yeah.
So that would be kind of cool. But yeah, it'd be very interesting to see where that goes. I'm still enjoying Neo year. So let's go on to Killing Time instead of Flash. We'll end with Flashpoint because I think Flashpoint still has some very interesting things happening in it. So let's jump over to Killing Time. Third installment. We're the halfway point in Tom King's what mini series? I guess what you call these.
Yeah.
Maxi series are 12, right?
Yeah.
So this mini series, this had a big new introduction to a character, and obviously I'm Tom King lover around here, so I enjoyed this issue. But what did you think of what happened in this issue?
I'm gonna be complete opposite from you and Raphael because
Oh,
Raphael said he enjoyed this too. I did not like this. And
okay.
again, I don't like how quickly it moves from time to time. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, 20 minutes in the future, 5 minutes before that, 30 minutes before that, 10 minutes before that,
Yeah.
10 minutes after that, 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I don't know who is narrating at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just getting kind of annoying with those timestamps. I'm just like, I don't
Well,
care about them all that much.
I don't think there is a like. It's not Batman. It's not Catwoman narrating. It's just a narrator.
Yeah.
So.
So that is a little annoying to me still. But let's get down to this new character,
Mm-hmm.
the Help. This I told you, when we reviewed this last time, this is what was spoiled to me. One of
Oh,
my
okay.
friends who is a Tom King hater found out what this twist was, the reveal, and he spoiled it for me. I was like, oh, that's a little weird. And then when I actually read the issue, my big thing that I didn't like is that this guy is just like, oh yeah, all those people that have trained you I'm the one that taught them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, you know? And
Yeah.
not necessarily that he taught them, but he's like, oh, I can recognize every single fighting style from every single person that you have ever learned from.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that because I'm better than them.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of goes into the same argument that we've had in the past of you bring in a new character and he's just ridiculously OP. It's kind of like, okay, like he is apparently the god of all martial arts,
Mm-hmm.
and like there's no draw to me, to be completely honest.
Interesting. But because so I think the earliest comparison to this would be Ghostmaker, right?
Yes.
Like the like closest character. But would you not say that this character was written better than Ghostmaker?
Well, I think those two characters have completely different MOs in the sense of Ghostmaker has this idea of like, oh, I'm a better vigilante than you. He has like a dick personality.
Mm-hmm.
So a dick personality with the ego that is to match, but we have yet to see the actions to match.
Yeah.
He's all talking, no show, like,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. uh that's why I don't like Ghostmaker. With the Help, he just like, boom, I'm gonna kick everybody's ass. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh shit. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some times that I can be like a new character come in and he fucking mops the floor with everybody.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. But it's the fact that Tom King took the time to be like, oh, you learned that from Ra's al Ghul. Oh, you learned that from uh Ted Grant. Oh, you learned that from this person. And oh, I defeated every single one of those people. It's like,
I don't think he says he defeated all them though. But he says he knows about their styles. I don't know if he. I'd have to go back and read it because I read this earlier, so I don't know when you had read it, and maybe you could be right here. But I don't. I didn't get the vibe that he defeated all of them, but he knew their techniques.
mhm.
Is what I'll give you that. So I actually didn't have an issue with this, just because I remember that this is early on in Batman's career, right? This isn't current Tom King Batman. This isn't the current Batman we're getting and stuff. This is still very early Batman. Catwoman's still a villain. We're still getting to know Riddler. We're still getting to know Penguin. So creating a character in the past, I don't mind. It's the new stuff that really annoys me, like Ghostmaker being so much better than Batman, or any of those other villains that we had to deal with that are just like so much fucking better than Batman after Batman's been doing it for so long, right?
Yeah.
So, in the context of this being in the early years of Batman, and we know that Batman has done it, because just because Batman has done one thing doesn't mean that nobody else can do something, right? This was my big argument I brought up with Tim Drake, how everybody's like, he's the one Robin that actually solved out who Batman was. I think that's bullshit. I think the idea of Tim Drake being able to solve who Batman was and nobody else has been able to do it the way he did it is kind of bullshit. Because he didn't do anything super special. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he was just like, all right, I read some newspaper clippings and I did some other shit. Like, I don't think it's that great. I'm sorry if you're a Tim Drake lover out there. I just don't think it's great. So, seeing that Batman went through all of these people to train, right? There's got to be other people to be able to get this kind of information. And a la, we've seen Deathstroke do the same thing Batman's done. And look, he's on the level of Batman. So
Yeah.
I don't really mind this. I can understand. I think your point is very valid, though. And I think the only reason why everybody's like, you just love Tom King, that's why you're letting it slide. I'm just doing it because it's very early on. And Batman can still make mistakes.
That's something that I always forget with this is that
Mm-hmm.
it's early on. But like I'm looking at the page now, he talks about the thing with Ted Grant. He's like, I once went 22 rounds with Grant on a barrage off the coast of New Jersey. It was quite illegal, or should I say, he went 22 rounds with me. Like
Mm-hmm.
he again, like boasting, like, oh, you know, I'm
Yeah.
better than him. Same thing with, oh, this move is very much a Descartes move. Oh, did you
Yeah.
know that I gave him his first rifle? Like again, showing superiority. Like, hey, I'm giving
Yeah.
you your first gun. Same thing with Ra's al Ghul. He says, what does he say with Roz? He says, oh, this is clearly uh, Ghoul on any other man. It takes it takes a confidence that he won't come and kill you. I will have to write him tonight to tell him how well at least one of his pupils has learned his lesson. So like saying that he is buddy buddy with this, like, you know, head of the League of Shadows
Yeah.
character. And it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, we get it. We get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to overanalyze this and make me to believe like, okay, like if you would have done the Descartes thing and Ted Grant by itself, cool.
Yeah.
But it goes on for 2 whole pages.
Yeah, I can see that argument, and I understand that. I guess I can only say my perspective, the way I was reading it. Again, I like that this is early on with Batman, right? So I like stories that can show me Batman learns from something. So him
Mhm.
getting his ass kicked here, he's gonna learn from this. And I think he even at some point the villain says, "Oh, you'll learn." Like, you'll learn
Well,
because so did what's
he
his name?
he kicks his ass or whatever, and then he tosses him his card. He
Yeah.
says, "Hey, whenever you know, eventually wake up, just know that if you ever want to, you know, get trained properly, come
Yeah.
and find me."
Which is kind of ballsy and kind of cool because Batman he's worked with the worst people to become the best vigilante, right? Like he's worked with plenty, and he worked with Ra's al Ghul. Like, come on, like
Yeah.
so you can't say that he's not against it. So
But
it,
that's the new piece of information that we get is the one thing that everybody has or is wanting to sell. Not only is it something of Bruce Wayne's, but it came from Ra's
from
al
Ra's al
Ghul.
Ghul,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, which I think just pushes the story. And this is what I mentioned last week because, like, again, I read this a while back, and I was talking about how at the end of this story, I'm intrigued to see where this goes because we said on the first issue, I was like, man, this better not be like Bruce's mom's pearls or something. That would be really stupid. But now that you're knowing that it's from Ra's al Ghul, somebody who has been alive for, as stories go, thousands of years probably, or at least hundreds of years, it could be something pretty crazy. And it's something that's really important. And so now I'm very curious because we keep seeing these flashbacks of people that are dying for this thing or dying around this thing, and Bruce at one point was going to throw it away but decided to hold on to it, and he put it in this maximum security safe zone or whatever, and they figured out how to break into it. So I'm very curious on where this is going to go. But now we see that the villain, and I think this is where I get a little bit more intrigued too, is the help was supposed to be this huge big assassin that everybody hired. He's essentially John Wick, right? He's like the
Yeah.
John Wick of fucking villains. And so whatever they were trying to steal, he finds out about it, and he was all like, he goes to Penguin, he kills all of Penguin's dudes that are watching over Penguin, and he's all like, normally I would just take the job and not ask any questions. But, from just logical standpoint, process of elimination, I think I know what you're going after. And I'm going to have to ask you a few questions, essentially. So now he's turning the tide on Penguin and everybody else who he's already signed on to kill Catwoman and Riddler.
Here's my problem with this, though.
Mm-hmm.
He's making it out to be like, this is like the secret to life. This is the Holy Grail. This is like something big. Tom King better fucking deliver. If it's some stupid like message or code or something, like, it has to be big.
This could be Scott Snyder's box, y'all. Remember that box we never got to see? That box that Green Arrow was holding on to that was supposed to be the end all be all? That could be it. No, like, so I am definitely tempering my expectations. Like, I'm not trying to see. I mean, if it's Ra's al Ghul, you can easily say it's something to do with like immortality or whatever because it's Ra's al Ghul, right?
And the big thing is the very last piece of dialogue here in the book, when Catwoman is opening it up and looking at it, the dialogue says, "And a woman looks into the eye of God."
Yeah.
So you're like, is it like something on a scale of actual gods that they're keeping like secret or whatever? So I'm like, okay, that might be cool, but it needs to fucking deliver.
Yeah, hopefully. Tom King has written a lot of the weird bullshit, or read a lot of the weird bullshit that's been throughout DC from even before our time, So I doubt it's something that's from the old days, but he could easily incorporate it from a thing. And the thing that makes it intriguing is that if it is something like eternal life or some crazy power of God, Batman didn't want it. But he obviously was smart enough to know that nobody else should have it. So I kind of like that. Because again, Tom King has written Batman in many situations that Batman could do something to keep himself going farther and longer, right? But he doesn't. He chooses not to because he knows his immortality is the reason that makes him, who he is. So, I'm still intrigued by this. I can understand why people would have an issue, but the help didn't bother me because I felt like that's the way you should write a villain instead of like he just comes in and beats the shit out of Batman, beats the shit out of everybody else like right away, and Batman still fucking Joker, shitty Joker guy. What's his name?
Clown
Batman Who Laughs.
Oh, Batman Who Laughs.
Batman Who Laughs. But like fuck Batman Who Laughs.
Do you think now though, now that the help knows what it is, do you think he's gonna go back to Killer Croc's girl and like say like, hey, I want this and the money? Because he gave her all that money. So
well, I don't think he. Why would he? I don't think he has anything to do with her. Why would he want her money?
Well, I mean, just for like
greed. Seems like he has all the money in the world. I mean, if you're a trained killer, you would probably have millions of dollars, probably. Especially if you're the boogeyman, as they're kind of making him be. Yeah. So,
man, he really is the John Wick of assassins.
Yeah, he's totally John Wick.
Yeah.
So, like, everybody's scared of him. But I like that the actual buyer showed up and he tortured the buyer and got the information. But yeah, I'm very curious to see what this is. We have 3 more issues to find out. And I think the main point of every comic is to make you want to read the next one, right? I want to read the next one. I want to know what the story is. So I would consider it a win. But yeah, so that's what I would go for it. But I also enjoy the story that where they found like how they buried this, like some random kid buried this with his sister and then they like some farmers randomly found it, and they were like, "Yeah, hey boss, we got it," and they all got fucking murdered. Like
Well, not
that
only
was pretty
that,
cool.
the brother of the daughter that was buried with it, he
Yeah,
literally went out every single night to watch over her grave
yeah, because
and
I think
then
there was
died of starvation.
rumors.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was rumors that it could make miracles happen or something, right? Like I'd have to go
Yeah.
back and read that part, but I kind of think that's what the old vibe is. I will tell you two if because people are like Juice never criticizes Tom King. I will tell you one thing I did think was stupid in this book, and it was when Batman stole the bike and he dropped an envelope of like $94,000 on the ground. I was all like,
And it said thank you. Yeah.
yeah, I was just like, you keep nine. I don't. First of all, I don't even think $94,000 could fit in one of those pouches in the back, even if they were all hundreds, unless $1,000,000,000 or like
It was
$1,000
okay. It
bills.
was actually a really specific number. It the in the envelope is
Yeah,
$97,438 and a note.
yeah.
The note reads, "Thank you." Like,
That
what
was the
the
one thing I
fuck?
thought was stupid. Like, I was like, first of all, is this like a classic bike that nobody has? Like, because that's pretty insane. But yeah, just throwing down money on there. And what if somebody else just picked it up and not the guy that had his bike stolen? Like, you know what I mean? That would kind of suck for that guy. That was the only thing I kind of really thought was dumb. That like, that was jarring.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay. And then he just stole the bike. But at the same time, if you wanted to argue for it, like you could just be like, "Oh, this is early on in Batman." I guess he doesn't have a Batwing at this point because I thought that was kind of weird. Like, why don't you just call Batwing? Bring it to you. But one thing that annoyed me in Batman 123 was when they were in the Batwing and they were like, "It'll take us 2 hours to get to Star City or wherever the hell they were going." When Tom King has set the precedent that Batman has a Batwing that is almost as fast as the Flash.
Yeah.
Like, so come on, why is it taking 2 hours to get somewhere?
And
Which
not only did he set the precedent for that, it actually wasn't King. Guess who it was?
was it Williamson? Oh, he
It
took
was
over for that,
Williamson.
right?
Yes.
Oh wow,
Williamson
that's even
himself.
worse.
Williamson
Oh my
himself.
god. But was that just Williamson or was that Tom King and Williamson?
It was Tom King and Williamson,
Okay.
but I am pretty sure that was a Williamson written comic on that
Yeah.
specific one.
Did they trade off or was it like Tom King laid out the story and Williamson did the dialogue? I'm curious on
Well,
how that. Is it
I'm gonna
like
have to go
the,
back. I'll have to go back and see what, because sometimes if they are smart about it,
Wait, no,
sometimes.
wasn't it a crossover between Batman and Flash? So wouldn't have Tom King wrote the Batman issue, Flash would have been written by Williamson?
But Batman was still in the Flash issues.
Well, yeah, I know that, but like it could be like you do the Flash, on you do the 2 issues for Flash, I'll do the 2 issues for Batman, but they're co-writing the story together. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I wonder if it was like that. So I would have to go back and look at what issue that happened in. If it
Mhm.
happened in the Flash, then it was definitely a Williamson thing. So that would make
Yeah.
it worse that he set the precedent and he didn't
Yep.
fucking follow it. God damn it. Anyways, let's move on to Flashpoint Beyond, our final book. This I will say, starting off with this book, I was worried because I didn't know if this was going to be written by Johns. We feel like Johns was going to write the first one, and then it might fall on its face going with these other two writers. But I have to say, it still was pretty awesome, in my opinion. I don't know what you thought about it.
Yeah, no, this was a really solid read. I actually read this like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
So uh I almost forgot that it was one of our books for this week. And I was like, oh, I have to reread that.
Yeah.
So I thought this, although it you could tell that it wasn't John's writing,
Yeah.
but it was still a solid story.
Mm.
I still like the interactions with this kid and Penguin and freaking Thomas Wayne. You know, Thomas is treating him, or was it Thomas or was it Penguin that's teaching him how to shoot a gun at one
Penguin.
point?
Penguin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then like just the epic fucking like kill shots that Batman has with these Atlanteans and shit. Like,
Yeah.
I I
So
I really enjoyed this.
yeah, so the cool thing about the main process of the story is Penguin has to babysit Dent's kid because Thomas has to go somewhere. He's gonna go check out the Atlanteans. Thomas obviously doesn't care for this kid to know that he's Batman.
Yeah.
Because he just opens the cave up and then he lets Penguin. He's like, "Hey, you want to learn to?" He's like, "I want to learn to shoot." He's like, "Okay, what do you want to shoot at?" And they destroy shit in the manor, which is funny. Batman goes to Atlantis, and that's when we find out what's going on in. He kind of has this monologue of talking about how he met his son from a different universe, and his son taught him that he shouldn't kill, and he tried to bring that to this new universe, but it doesn't work. So you see him pull out his guns again, and he goes to Atlantis. We find out that Aquaman has said he has told Britain that they have 24 hours to surrender, or that he's going to flood the whole, island of Britain or whatever. And we see Wonder Woman tied up with the lassos. She's these two Atlantean guards are talking to her and like, "Oh, you killed my family, blah blah." And she's all like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, you killed my family." And she's like, "Get a little closer and tell me that." And she bites off one of his tentacles. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill this bitch right now." And then that's when you see Batman come out of the water in scuba gear, double headshot to these two guards. It was awesome. I was like, "Yeah, Batman." And then we see Wonder Woman being like, "Oh, are you here to kill me or
Well,
whatever?"
no, she
Or
says, she's like, "I thought you were dead." He's like, "Yeah, so did I."
yeah,
And so it seems like most of the stuff that happened in the Flashpoint books basically did, except for the ending. Like the
yeah,
all out war at the end seems to be the only thing that was rewritten at this point, which is
yeah,
really weird. But I mean, you got to retcon what you have to retcon in order
yeah,
to make a story work.
for sure. And so she's like, "Are you here to save me? Like, I'll kill you or whatever." And he's like, "I don't give a shit about you. I just need your lasso." And she's all like, "Well, I'm not gonna give that to you." He's like, "Look, man, I just need to do this." And she's like, "I'm not gonna stay here and save your people or whatever." He's like, "I don't give a shit what you do. I just need your lasso to go get some information, and then after that, you can do whatever the hell you want. I don't care." And so they kind of make a deal. And so he gets the lasso. You see Aquaman sitting on this throne, waiting for this. He's looking at this orb that I guess could flood the city or whatever. And so he's like, "Oh, I'm just waiting to see what's gonna happen." You see this like tick tock thing happening, and he ends up choking. We see Batman throw the lasso around Aquaman's neck, and he's all like, "Tell me who sent you to kill the Flash, or tell me who you sent to kill the Flash, and why are you doing it?" Aquaman instantly throws him. He's like, "Bro," he's like, "Get out of here." And he was all, "I'm gonna kill you," all this kind of shit. He's like, "But I didn't send no assassins." He was all, "But I'm about to take over this world," all this kind of shit. So now we have this like whole thing of who these assassins are. While this fight is happening, Oswald calls. He's like, "Hey, boss, we need to talk." And he's like, "Kind of busy right now." And he's like, "Well, just to let you know, the casino's been blown up." So, and then he's like, "Damn!" That's when Batman realizes somebody wanted me to come here to get me out of Gotham, and so there's a new mystery person. And he was like, "It can't be Thawne. Like, there's no way it would be Thawne. Like, we saw this earlier in the book." He's like, "Who's trying to do this?" And so he thinks it's Arthur. Arthur's like, "Nope." And then out of nowhere, after they're done fighting or
Dude,
whatever,
this was fucking awesome. Because
yeah,
he's like, "I'm gonna take my trident and I'm gonna fucking kill you. And then I'm
yeah,
gonna kill Wonder Woman, and then I'm gonna take over this fucking world." And he looks and his trident's gone. He's like, "What the hell?" And boom, right through the fucking back, Wonder Woman
yeah,
comes out of nowhere. And she's like, "I freaking loved you. You did this to yourself." And Aquaman's like, "Well, I loved Mira, so fuck you." And
yeah,
he just fucking dies.
yeah. I can't think of Mira without thinking of Amber Heard anymore. So I was like, "Man, come on, Aquaman, you're really defending Amber Heard right now? Come on, bro. Like, come on." And then so like, Wonder Woman's like, "Our deal is done unless you wish to try and stop me." And he's like, "I don't give a shit." He's like, "I got my answers." And then that's when he leaves. We see Diana standing over Aquaman's dead body. We go to the manor. This kid is shooting guns in the manor, and Batman's like, "What the hell? Like, what are you doing?" And he doesn't really care. They start talking, and he's kind of asking questions like, "Oh, just shoot the ceiling, do whatever." And he's all like, he's like, "Let's check the cameras." He's trying to get information, but they have no information they can go off of. Whoever blew up this casino, right? That's when we get a jump to present day. And I was all like, "Oh, it's the Flash," and he's like, "Bruce, things are going off. I feel it's like Dawn's energy. Like, what's going on? All this kind of shit." And he's like, "What?" He was like, "Dude, after the button, they reference the button, which I really love. Again, John's doing referencing old shit, making it all canon, all this kind of stuff." He's like, "When we fought that one time with Dawn, I put in new sensors that uses Mister Freeze's technology and all this kind of stuff, and like
And
any
then
speedster that
and then
I
Barry's
don't
like,
want."
"Oh, now I see him." Like
Yeah,
he's making sure to take note in case, like, just in case he accidentally like triggers it, he
trips
knows how
it.
to like
Yeah,
dodge it or whatever. And dude, Bruce like boldface lies basically,
yeah,
and he's just like, "Hey, this is this is how we're gonna take care of things." But we see that character again that
yeah,
was on top of the Batmobile the first time in the first issue, or issue 0 technically. um he says like, "Why'd you lie? Like, they're gonna find out eventually." He's just like,
yeah.
"Well, there's no going back, and this is how we have to do things." And we
Mhm.
see the snow globe and the watch that was Thomas Wayne's.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think the end game is here with Bruce?
I don't know because the kid from the previous thing, and I forget what they're called, like the Time Agency or something,
The
right?
Time
I
Lord.
forget what he's from.
No, no,
Yeah,
that's Doctor Who. Hold on.
yeah. I was
Uh,
like the Time Lord, so I was like, whoa,
no, he
crossover. Uh,
he is a time something. It's the Time Masters, I think it is.
yeah. And so he tells Batman, he's like, it's not too late to undo this. And then Batman's like, yes, it is. And then that's when we get like next Death in Hyper Time. So I'm curious on why Bruce is even doing this. Like, if obviously Jeff Johns has read Tom King's run. It had a lot of freaking Thomas Wayne Batman in it. Why would he be trying to fix that right now? Like, I thought he kind of made peace with all of that. So I don't know what happened with Williamson's run that made Thomas Wayne interesting again or whatever. So I'm just really confused on what Bruce Wayne's MO is here.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued, but I have no fucking idea where we're going, and I think it's because I've missed a lot of stuff. So I couldn't even come up with a good theory because I haven't read a lot of stuff before previous to
Well,
this.
it's very odd just because, I mean, I honestly think that Jeff Johns is like still under the table at DC saying, "Hey, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to help you guys out, but my name's not going to be over everything.
Yeah,
Like, I'll help you move in the direction of what y'all want, but I'm not going to be on any main titles. I'm too busy, blah, blah, blah."
yeah,
But at the same time, we are seeing this big event with Dark Crisis. Are they going
mm-hmm.
to intertwine? Are they, because I mean, it does reference in the very beginning of issue 0, it references the shit that happened in the Justice League Incarnate stuff.
Yeah.
So I think overall, I think it is going to all connect. So I think it is probably a good idea for us to read Dark Crisis.
Hmm. Yeah, we'll have to check it out. I mean, because I know you said Nightwing and Deathstroke are going to be a big part of that, right? I don't know
Yeah.
how that will tie into Shadow War. Shadow War is not doing a good job to get me interested in any of that. So, for the most part, man, I think we had, I enjoyed 3 of the 4 books we had this week. So, I know you feel a little bit different, but I would say solid week of comics, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, but for the most part, that is all we have for this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Clay, what do you got going on this week, man?
So, tomorrow, hopefully the time that this is out there, Friday, May 6th, over at the Geekverse YouTube channel, I am going to be reviewing Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness for anybody who wants to check that out. Over at DC Alliance, over at the Geekverse YouTube channel on Monday, we will be talking about all of the stuff with the Amanda Waller show that's possibly coming up. We have been hearing rumblings of actual concrete filming of the Green Lantern Corps show finally. Uh,
Oh,
all sorts of stuff. So go check that show out. And here recently on May 4th, yesterday, at the time we were recording this, Star Wars Alliance, we actually did a breakdown review of the trailer of the new Obi-Wan trailer that came out yesterday. So go check that out as well.
Nice. I have not seen that yet. The trailer. I watched the new Game of Thrones Matt Smith trailer though.
I
So
did see that one. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know like why I'm getting excited for this. Maybe just because of Matt Smith, but like I still
Mhm.
haven't seen Game of Thrones. So
I don't know how you haven't seen Game of Thrones. Like I know that season 8 wasn't the best, but everything before that is fire.
I have actually thought about actually like starting it this year. Like I have
Yeah.
really contemplated because there isn't like much of because like DCCW is, almost non-existent now.
Yeah.
And I don't know when we're going to get Peacemaker season 2 and other
Mhm.
shows. So, just kind of those random shows to, you know, kill some time. I
Yeah.
need something. And I honestly think I'm going to be doing Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I've been wanting to check out Band of Brothers. I didn't know Ross is in that show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I haven't watched it. I knew when it came out, like it was the talk of the town, like everybody loved it. But recently, I watched just some scenes from 1917 because I've seen that film before, and so my YouTube is just all war movies right now, and it's just like check this out. So I saw stuff from Fury today. I saw Hacksaw Ridge highlights, like all great movies. Which how David Ayer is the Joshua Williamson of movies. He did like one good thing, and then everything else was kind of downhill. So because he has not come out with anything good since Fury. And
Yeah.
Fury was phenomenal. I think Fury got nominated for an Oscar, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I did.
It was great. I feel like if you ever make a bad war movie, you just suck. Like, you just suck as a director because war movies are just like golden and easy, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, I've been watching a lot of those lately. But I saw Band of Brothers. Is that Ross? I was like, what? I was all like, I need to watch this. Rachel comes out in the battlefield. It was a break. Fucking killing him. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for this podcast. As always, he is Fanboy Clay. I am Juice Wayne. And remember, Batman is awesome. News Weekly.